This is the Chamber Chat Podcast, the show dedicated to chamber professionals to spark ideas and to get actionable tips and strategies to better serve your members and community. Hello, Chamber Champions. Welcome to Chamber Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Burton, and it's my goal here on the podcast to introduce you to people and ideas to better help you serve your chamber members and your community. Our title sponsor for this episode is Bringing Local Back. Remember when your community could turn to a local TV station or newspaper for the latest updates and affordable ads? Those days may be fading, but the need for local connection remains. That's why we created Bringing Local Back, a game-changing platform that restores local visibility and advertising power to your community. It's more than just tech. It's about driving engagement and creating new revenue for your chamber. Ready to see the future? Visit bringinglocalback.com to schedule your demo today. This is the future of local commerce. You're joining us for a special episode in our 2025 ACCE Chamber of the Year Finalist Series. And our guest for this episode is John Urbahns. John is the CEO of Greater Fort Wayne, Inc. And of course, he's representing Greater Fort Wayne, Inc. as a Chamber of the Year finalist. But he joined the organization in 2014 and at the time was serving as Executive Vice President of Economic Development before taking on the CEO role in 2019. Under his leadership, Greater Fort Wayne, Inc. has assisted with over 200 business expansions and relocations, resulting in more than 13,500 new jobs and $600 million in new payroll. Previously, John was the Director of Community Development for the City of Fort Wayne, managing strategic planning, redevelopment, and economic development initiatives. John has led key community projects such as The Landing, Electric Works, and the Bradley Hotel, while also engaging with residents and leaders to shape Allen County's future. He holds a degree in urban planning and environmental design from Ball State University and is an AICP certified urban planner. John, I want to welcome you back to Chamber Chat Podcast. Congratulations to you and your team for being selected as a Chamber of the Year finalist. I'd love to give you an opportunity to say hello to all the Chamber Champions, and if you would share something interesting about yourself so we can all get to know you a little better.
Oh, Brandon, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be back. Love talking about our team. Our team is excited about this opportunity. We think we've done a great job in transforming our community and really all of Northeast Indiana. So excited about it. I'm just a proud Hoosier. I'm a proud father of three great kids here that are all making choices to stay in our community. At the end of the day, that's the biggest job in the world that I have, is making sure that every kid has the opportunity to have a great opportunity in Fort Wayne, in Allen County, and just continue to thrive. So excited to be here.
That's right. You're living the work that you do, right? Keeping your kids in the community. That's great.
Absolutely am.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about Greater Fort Wayne, Inc. to kind of set the perspective for us as we start our discussion today. Give us an idea of the size, staff, scope of work you guys are involved with, budget, that sort of things.
Yeah. So Greater Fort Wayne, Inc., a lot of people think, oh, you've been around forever. I joined the organization in January 2014 when we formed the organization.
Oh, wow.
Right. We merged our Chamber of Commerce, which was 100 years old, our Economic Development Alliance, which was a public-private partnership doing economic development, which was about 20 years old, and then our Leadership Fort Wayne program, which is at the time was about a little over 30 years old, and merged those together. The business community really said, we need to pull these assets together to do economic development, to do chamber activities, to do leadership programming, so that we can take on bigger and bolder projects in the community. So we're about 11 and a half years old as an organization, but really serving as the economic development entity and the chamber for all of Allen County. So not just Fort Wayne, but New Haven, Huntertown, some of the smaller communities. 660 square miles is our jurisdiction, but we work very closely with those regional counties in Northeast Indiana.
All right. Very good. About how many chamber members and staff?
Yeah. So we have 14. We just passed the 1,400 mark on membership. in the community. We've got 20 staff members, budget of about $3.4 million that is made up of membership revenue, dues, non-dues revenue, just a lot of great things going on, a lot of great support from our community in what we're doing. As a community, we're seeing a lot of growth, which is what you want to see as a chamber, as an economic development agency, and really feel that the work we're doing is helping drive that.
Yeah, very cool. Well, on these Chamber of the Year finalist episodes, I like to spend the majority of our time really diving into the two programs that were submitted on your Chamber of the Year application. So we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll dive in deep on those two programs.
Hi, I'm Joe.
And I'm Rose.
And we're the founders of App My Community, a mobile app that can be customized to meet the unique needs of your Chamber of Commerce.
When we started App My Community, we envisioned a tool that would help communities thrive by simplifying communication and enhancing engagement. Chambers of Commerce face unique challenges, and we're here to help you tackle them.
App My Community helps the Evergreen Area Chamber of Commerce to create an app that keeps tourists informed even when their office is closed. They provide 24/7 access to local business information, which helps support the local economy and community engagement.
In Rocky Mountain House, we helped Rocky Chamber create an app with dynamic itineraries and digital resources for tourists, increasing local business engagement. The app has become an essential tool for the community, promoting events and boosting visibility for local merchants.
Today, we empower more than 200 chambers of commerce, campgrounds, and RV resorts to streamline communication, informing members about events, sharing business updates, and providing a digital hub for the community, all in one convenient app.
When you partner with App My Community, our team works closely with you to create an app that meets your chamber's unique needs. As your community grows, our app evolves with you. We are here to ensure you engage effectively with your members and streamline your operations.
Schedule a demo today at appmycommunity.com.
We can't wait to meet you.
Are you ready to take your organization's funding to the next level? Hi, I'm Clint Neesmith, CEO of Resource Development Group. As a Chamber of Commerce or economic development organization leader, I know you understand the value of working with experts who understand your world. And that's exactly what RDG does best. For over 30 years, RDG has specialized in fundraising for EDOs and chambers. We bring cutting-edge strategies tailored to your organization, whether you're just starting out or gearing up for yet another new funding cycle. Importantly, our firm executives are hands-on from start to finish, from the feasibility study to the successful conclusion of your fundraising campaign, and our team brings deep industry roots and national expertise to every engagement. No matter the size of your community, RDG delivers data-driven, innovative revenue solutions, reinforcing ROI to investors and making sure your vision becomes reality. At RDG, we proudly build organizations that build communities. Visit us today at rdgfundraising.com and let us partner with you, building a stronger future for your organization and the community you are working to grow and develop.
All right, John, we're back. As I mentioned before the break, we're diving in on the two programs from your Chamber of the Year application. I know one of them has, obviously a focus on economic development and another one on talent attraction. Do you have a preference on which one you'd like to cover first?
I'm good with either one.
Okay.
Our role, our mission is about building a nationally recognized economy, but our why is really about people and capital. That's what we always talk to people about. It's about people, setting the environment where people want to be, where people want to move to, and where capital wants to be deployed, whether that's locally, nationally, or internationally. So both these programs tie very much into our why on the people and capital side. So people are probably the most important. So let's just jump in on the people side.
All right. So let's do that. So your onboard program. Tell us what that's about and kind of, I always like to know what the need was that was addressed and how you guys went about answering that need.
Yeah, so one of the areas that we started working was onboard Fort Wayne. We've seen a lot of growth in our community. We had a lot of years of kind of dying the slow death of negative domestic migration and population decrease. With some of the work that we've done to drive investment in the community, we've now seen 8 straight years of positive domestic migration. If you go back 1990, when they started tracking this, every year was negative until 8 years ago. And that's because we chose to invest in ourselves, started to make progress in that environment. And as we started to see that increased domestic migration, we started seeing a lot of influx from people from throughout the nation coming in to Fort Wayne and Allen County. How are we going to welcome them? How are we going to really come alongside them and help them get connected within the community? So we created the onboard program about 5 years ago, and have slowly built out different segments of it. And over the last couple of years, we built in the intern experience and best in class, which are two of the pieces that we submitted for the Chamber of the Year application. So the intern experience, really diving in with interns and companies. They're going to come here to work and hopefully have a great experience at their company. How do they fall in love with the community? And that's what we stepped in to help do. So each summer, we do between 5 and 1 year, 9 weeks straight of just social activities for the interns to get them connected to each other, to get them connected to the community. One of the keys is we survey them early on. What's the chances of you seeing yourself living in Fort Wayne post-graduation? In both years, it's been right around 60% of the kids see themselves living here. And these are kids that are coming from all over the U.S., right? Part of the survey, we look at where they're coming from. 1 year, 25 states, 1 year, 23 states, multiple countries of kids coming in from across the U.S. to do internships here.
So these college interns, is that?
College interns, okay. Yep. So if only 60% can see themselves living here, that's a challenge for us. By the end of the summer, both years, it's increased to well over 80% of the kids. When we do the post-program survey, over 80% say they could see themselves living in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And there's a lot, and we ask them why. And we, it comes down to cost of living, opportunities, connectedness, not just in Fort Wayne, but to outlying, larger metros. So we feel the program has been very successful. Our companies feel great about it. It lets them focus on the day-to-day, let's make sure they have a great work environment, that they like our company, but we help them fall in love with the community. And maybe there's some connections that are made while they're here over the summer, and they fall in love in general and have those strong connections as well. So it's creating that connection to the community. We parlayed that last year into the Best in Class program and said, all right, we're getting great results from these college interns, but how do we get to kids before they go off to college? How do we build that pipeline? Just like a company builds a pipeline, we need to build a pipeline. So last year we worked with all 17 high schools in Allen County and really sat down with their principals, your guidance counselors, and said, give us your top kids, your 10 to 15 kids, not necessarily 1 through 10, 1 through 15 in the grades, but who are the leaders? Who are the kids that are going to go off and maybe never come back? And we pulled them together and said, give them to us for a night. So we had about 250 kids come together last year, and we had this Best in Class event where we talked about what's going to happen over the next 4 years in our community, right? How is it going to change? We had some young entrepreneurs come in and talk to them about how they've chosen to make their best life here in Fort Wayne and Allen County. We talked about the business environment, right? So many kids, they know about what's going on in the community, but they don't know about industry.
Right.
So we highlighted the key industry sectors and the great job opportunities that they can have here in the community. And then at the end, we wrapped it up with a cost of living index, right? We had kids at tables, and we gave every kid at a table, a different city. And we started to help them understand, or they figured out themselves, hey, if I move off to some of these bigger cities, am I going to be able to afford to live the way I would like to live? Can I own a car? Can I own a home? How much am I going to be able to go out? How many times can I go to Starbucks or the local coffee shop? And they started to understand Fort Wayne, Indiana was the best place for them to grow up.
Yeah. My son is our oldest. He graduated high school last year. So his eyes are being opened right now
Yeah.
as he's looking at cost of living, and what a call to reality. You've got these 250 of the greatest leaders in your area, coming out of high school, and to be able to give them this real life metric of this is one of the real positive reasons why you'd want to choose our community to stay,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes. So you always wonder, did I make an impression? What's the results of this, right? We wanted these kids to not just know themselves, but ultimately go off to college and be our salespeople while they're out at universities throughout the Midwest, throughout the U.S. We had calls the next day from parents and said, "I don't know exactly what you said to my kids last night, but they were leaving." They were leaving after high school. They were going off to, a couple cases, Indiana University, Purdue University, pick your university. They were going there and they were never coming back. And after last night, they said they want to come back.
Yeah.
And that to me says we made a difference.
That's really cool.
Right? We're driving change. We're changing the mindset of the young folks about the community, and they're starting to see the great opportunities that they can have.
Yeah. And so going backwards a little bit with the intern program, I think that's a missed opportunity that so many chambers and communities have, where interns come in, and so much of the focus is on, building the work experience and connecting with the company. And we miss that opportunity to connect them with the community and to get them to fall in love with the community.
You have to engage them. You have to get them to fall in love. We've done a lot of work in our community about reinvesting in ourselves, building up our downtown. We do a business survey every 5 years. We hire a polling firm. It's not just a survey we do. We hire a polling firm. We do a statistical analysis of it. And 95% of the businesses believe we're on the right track with where we're headed. The number one issue in the community that they think affecting talent attraction and retention, these are companies across the community, is downtown and riverfront revitalization. So we know we're on the right track, that we're hitting the right points. Now we need to get those kids out and enjoy those things and see those things while they're here.
Yeah.
So feel really good about it.
That's great. Well, let's shift gears to the big economic development program and I'll say economic development win that you guys are going through at the moment. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mentioned people and capital. The other side of our business is the capital side, right? Economic development. How are we creating the environment to attract capital into our market, and get locals to invest as well? But last year was a big year for us. We had $3.66 billion in building permits in Allen County. Put that in perspective. If you go back to 2012, so about 13 years ago, we were averaging about $500 million of building permits a year. So we've seen dramatic growth in that. We hit $1 billion in 2017, and we haven't looked back from that. So capital is a big piece for us. The other thing we had looked at through our economic development strategy was land assembly, and how do we make sure that we have opportunities for companies to grow. We saw the need for land in our community. We had an opportunity with a project that came to us from our electrical provider and said, "Hey, we've got a company that's looking at our market. We've done a lot of great things to improve our water supply and our access to water, and on the electric side as well." So ultimately, we landed a $2 billion Google data center, right? It's their largest AI data center in the world that's being built here in Fort Wayne. And we had a challenge to figure out how to get 900 acres of land for that development. Ultimately, this could end up being a $10+ billion investment as the multiple phases grow out in our community. And these are tech jobs in our most depressed area of the community. Right. So we can come back to that, but there's going to be a lot of great spin-off effects from this that we're going to be able to utilize. But we've talked a lot as a chamber world about chamber foundations over the last several years. Do you have a chamber? If you don't have a chamber foundation, when you're asked that question at ACC, I feel like everybody's like, well, why don't you have one yet? You need to look at one. So we have one. We've been using it in different ways. But one of the things we had to respond to this about a year and a half ago when this project started was we had a partner that was going to work on land assembly, and it wasn't going well with the company. And the company came to us and said, "Hey, can you help us acquire the property?" And we said, "Yes, we're going to do that. Let's figure out how to do that." So we utilized some funding in our chamber foundation to go out and acquire the 900 acres of property so that we could move it forward. We acquired that 900 acres of property in under 90 days.
Wow.
Which is amazing as a community. And we couldn't have done it if we didn't have the chamber foundation infrastructure in place to go and do that. I think the other thing you have to look at from, you think about all the horizon points, you think about catalytic leadership and pulling people together. This property was located not just in the city of Fort Wayne, it was also in the city of New Haven, and it was in unincorporated Allen County. We took the role as a developer to go acquire that property, but then also, petition for the vacation of a county road. We had to get the city of New Haven to disannex about 60 acres of the site that was in one community, so that the city of Fort Wayne could annex it and annex the rest of the property and have that in their tax base. Now you go to a mayor and tell him, "I need you to disannex 60 acres so that your neighbor can take it."
Yeah.
Right. That's a tough conversation, but he jumped right in and said, "Hey, let's figure out how to do it." Because this is a win for our community.
It's a huge win. Yeah.
That mindset. Right. If you go back 5-10 years ago, this ends up in a lawsuit. And frankly, the project doesn't happen. But we had that buy-in, and it's because we've got the trusted relationships with all the different partners to pull it together, so that it was a win-win for each of the communities, because he knows his community is going to grow because of this, right? He's right next to it. He's going to see a lot of great growth, even if that project is not directly within his political jurisdiction, right? Companies don't care about political lines. They care about getting projects done. We used our foundation. We acted in a way at the speed of business to get this win for the entire community.
Yeah. I mean, Moses split the Red Sea. I mean, you guys worked on getting a city to de-annex part of the land. I mean, it's a miracle as far as I'm concerned. But being able to be that convener, to, like you said, to be that trust, have that trust in the community, be that convener to really lead a project that's going to benefit all of the surrounding communities as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the perfect position and role that a chamber should be playing. And then you've got the added benefit of being able to access your chamber foundation to help, get the ball over the line, so to speak. Great testimony on being conveners and having a chamber foundation to see a big project come together. That's super exciting.
And this is going to have, I mentioned that I said I'd come back to it. This is part of the community that has seen the most disinvestment or the lack of investment over several decades. We now in that part of the community have our first market rate subdivision being built for the first time in 40 years.
Wow.
Market rate subdivision being built. With the project and the TIF district and the city being able to work to reinvest dollars within that community to look at neighborhood commercial corridor projects. And we're looking at other industrial properties that need to be repurposed in that area. This project now gives us the opportunity to really dive in and make some really big transformational change in that part of the community.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just a side note or comment on the Chamber Foundation. For those who don't have a foundation, may be curious, how do you guys fund your foundation? How did the funds become available to be able to fund a project like this?
Yeah, we, our foundation, our C3 organization is, all of our fee for service agreements with City of Fort Wayne, City of New Haven, the Airport Authority, the county commissioners, they flow through that as well. But then we've used that to assemble dollars. The dollars we used for this project date back 25 years when the business community raised funds to help the city finalize an industrial park.
Yeah. And
as part of that, those business funds that went into it as land sold came back to us into that entity or that foundation to reinvest and basically evergreen so that we could continue to do similar investments. About 8 years ago, we used those funds to help the city acquire another 145 acres, and turned around and sold that to a large facility here in town. Again, we got the money back, and then we used it in this case. And then when this project closed, the funds came back into that. So those funds are recycling and coming back to us to now we're looking at new opportunities. How are we going to invest that to, again, position the community for growth from an economic development perspective? So those funds were initially raised as from the private sector. There's other funds that, because of this project, we were able to get several people that were involved in the project to provide some additional funds to it. So help grow it because of the success of that project. So we're just trying to continue to grow it and make sure that we can leverage it multiple times, right? It didn't help that project, not just that project back in 1999. It helped us with multiple projects along the way, and it's going to help us continue to move things forward.
Yeah, it's a great framework of how to utilize a foundation, and for those who are thinking about it, it's a great exposure to to put out
just
there.
One way we used it. I know that others use it a lot of different ways. We can all learn from each other. I think that's the key that I like about ACC, that I like about this process. We all learn from each other. Right. We're all doing great things. We just might be doing different things.
Absolutely. We all have different communities.
Absolutely.
So, John, for those listening who are wanting to take their chamber to the next level and working towards that goal, what kind of tip or action item might you leave with them towards trying to accomplish that?
I think one of the things that I would tell all of my peers, those in this world, and I've learned this, again, very recently, that we have to be, we're the future of the community. We're looking out ahead. Make sure you're having those conversations with your key businesses about the future, right? So often we all get kind of bogged down in the day-to-day, making sure that projects are moving forward, programs are moving forward. We could spend our entire day focused on the here and now and making sure that goes smooth. But we need to make sure that we're having the conversations about the future. Right? We are the future of our community. We're going to drive that. We're going to be the catalytic leader. We're going to be the futurist. Make sure that you're bringing your key business leaders and government leaders along with you in that regard. Don't lose sight of the future. Make sure that you have those conversations is what I would leave with everybody.
Yeah. So don't lose sight of the future. I always like asking that question too. How do you see the future of chambers and their purpose going forward?
Yeah, I can only speak for my chamber, but I've seen the change in this community. I came here almost 30 years ago, and it wasn't a community that I moved to spend a career. It was a community I moved to for a job out of college, and we started to make change, and chambers need to be key in that role. If you're not affecting change in your community, you're not doing it justice, and you're not doing yourself justice. So the future of chambers is bright, but we have to make it bright. Yeah,
I like that. Need to be affecting change in your community.
We often say we need to make the change happen and not let the change happen to us.
Yeah.
So many times that happens.
And, when it comes to change, a lot of people fear it because so often the change does happen to us. But if you're being forward thinking and driving the change, you've got a lot more, direction on what the future looks like when you're driving it instead of being acted upon. So, great point. Well, John, for those listening who might want to reach out and connect with you about either of these programs or how you guys are doing things there at Greater Fort Wayne Inc., where would you point them? What would be the best way for them to reach out and connect?
I'd point them to our website, greaterfortwayneinc.com. Just Google us. Make that your make that your browser of choice, if you would, please. But greaterfortwayneinc.com, all of our contact information is there. We are happy to have conversations about any of the programs we're doing, any of the projects. we're here to help each other, and we definitely subscribe to that. We talked about the Google project. We've coached probably now 7 or 8 other communities on how to handle these big projects and pull them off. Some of my peers that are probably listening here, we've had some conversations, and it's been very valuable to them, and it's valuable to us when we can go and talk about others. So go to the website. I will tell you that we are literally in the middle of a complete overhaul of our website. So what you see today is not what you will see at the end of July or the 1st of August. But go to our website, reach out to us, and come back. Come see us.
Yeah, very good. And if you have trouble finding it, go to Google. I love the plug.
Go to Google. It's going to be easy.
I love the plug. Well, John, this has been great having you back on Chamber Chat Podcast. I appreciate you spending time with us. I wish you and your team best of luck with Chamber of the Year, and keep making those big swings and big movements in your community. You guys are doing awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Brandon.
If you are a chamber professional, please subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. When you subscribe to Chamber Chat Podcast, new episodes will show up in your podcast app each week as they are released. If you're finding value in this podcast, please leave us a rating and a review in iTunes. But most importantly, please share Chamber Chat Podcast with your colleagues that are in the industry.